We've seen how the document intelligence agent parses a single, complex file. But what happens when you need to understand 10,000 files at once? A researcher might spend a decade reading papers in their field, but no human being can read 40,000 published studies across a dozen databases and hold the overarching shape of all that data in their head at the same time. The scale is simply too massive. That's the problem agent number 6 is built to solve. It doesn't fetch known facts. It reads the entire landscape to find the silence between the papers, the specific questions that nobody has published an answer to yet. Moving from retrieving specific answers to mapping unknown gaps marks a structural transition in AI architecture, stepping from basic data retrieval into autonomous knowledge discovery. Traditional search engines look for exact keyword matches. If you search for gut microbiome, the engine misses papers using the term intestinal flora. This agent uses semantic mapping instead. It groups concepts by their underlying meaning, pulling in relevant studies even when different scientific disciplines use entirely different vocabularies. Once it gathers the literature, the agent generates 3 specific outputs. First, it maps the consensus, what everyone agrees on. Second, it highlights the divergence, where studies contradict each other. And third, it isolates the open gap, where research is missing. In a recent real-world application, an AI system analyzing literature on macular degeneration, a leading cause of blindness, noticed an isolated cluster of research on a glaucoma eye drop. The agent bridged those 2 separate clusters and identified the eye drop as a candidate treatment, hiding in plain sight on pharmacy shelves. By connecting disparate threads, the agent took a process that typically requires years of manual reading and compressed it into weeks, delivering an engineered insight ready for immediate human action. Let's look at this flowchart of the 6-stage architecture loop. The process starts with a clear user objective, translating that goal into a broad literature scan, querying multiple academic databases simultaneously to pull conceptually related abstracts. Next, it moves to thematic clustering. The agent uses machine learning algorithms to mathematically group those retrieved papers into distinct labeled themes based on their content. Then comes citation-graph traversal. By walking through these references, the agent identifies foundational hub studies that bridge otherwise isolated themes. In the 5th stage, the agent synthesizes this data into a structured report, pinning a verifiable citation to every claim. Finally, it hits the coherence gate, an automated check evaluating the logical support of its own synthesis. If it detects unsupported claims or finds that the clusters lack strong coherence, it drops the draft, refines the original search query, and restarts the scan. This closed-loop, self-grading structure acts as a strict guardrail, preventing the agent from confidently hallucinating false narratives about the literature. Looking at this Python code executing the broad literature scan, we see exactly how the agent queries the archive API to pull metadata. Notice how the script concatenates the paper titles and summaries, merging the data into a single textual unit of meaning. In the thematic clustering phase, the code passes that text into a sentence transformer, converting abstracts into a high-dimensional vector array. The k-means algorithm then groups those vectors, assigning thousands of complex embeddings into distinct, predictable clusters. With a remarkably compact code footprint, this logic acts as a multi-domain parser, scaling a team's research capacity past the boundaries of human processing power. In the enterprise sector, this architecture dramatically accelerates timelines. Systematic literature reviews and preclinical target discovery that used to take entire quarters can now be condensed down to a few days. However, there is a serious limitation. Because the agent maps only what has been published, its outputs will silently inherit any underlying biases, poor methodology, or omissions present in the databases it scans. Agent number 6 is engineered to synthesize the theoretical gap, but it still relies on human scientists, or future physical lab agents, to run the physical experiments required to actually close it. This wraps up our look at the information retrieval and knowledge agents. Next, we step into the tools and orchestration tier, where agents stop merely observing data and begin taking direct action in the real world. For the complete architecture, source code, and deployment guides, check out the book, 30 Agents Every AI Engineer Must Build.